My whole thing of getting out of my trauma was being successful and ditching everybody who ever done me any wrong and showing them and proving them that they messed with the wrong person, that I wasn't the one. So yeah, okay, I got what I wanted and I had that freedom, but for some reason when I started drinking, the alcohol accessed that trauma that I never properly dealt with.
I'm one of those people who like, I dread watching videos of myself.
Yeah, I don't watch them.
Yeah. But I've learned I have to, otherwise, you don't improve.
Then you can't critique yourself.
Yeah, but it's painful. We're rolling, huh? Yeah. Sick. Brandon, I am so stoked you're here. Like, it's a real privilege to have you join us. I know you came a long ways up to Canada, and you have just such a super inspiring story. And I think one that many of people who might listen to this podcast haven't heard before. So I think there's a lot we can learn from you. And so yeah, just thank you. Really happy you're here.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Like, I love Canada.
Yeah.
I haven't been here since Slam City Jam, probably around 2001, 2, I don't know. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, sick. We were talking about because the last time you were in Vancouver was a completely different context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were here with the Shorty's team.
Yeah, I was here with Shorty's team and with the Muska, so it was definitely a different environment.
That's right. And so for people that may not know, Shorty's was like one of the skateboard teams, sort of early 2000s, I guess. And Chad Muska, was it early 2000s or late 90s or?
Like from 98 to early 2000s.
Yeah. And Chad Muska, he was one of the biggest names in skateboarding, and you guys were like the superstars, right? Like celebrity status.
So we'll close the curtains and...
Should I get Chris come too?
He's going to come in later? Or?
He's going to come in, I don't know.
Up to you guys.
It's up to him.
Come on in.
Hey, go on in, dude.
Dogs allowed.
Well, we need to get him a chair.
Yeah, we'll get a chair.
This video.
Here, dude, I can grab a chair. That's it.
So yeah, we were talking about, it was a lot different last time you were here, but and like so much has happened in that amount of time for you, and like some very impressive accomplishments, right? Like CEO of your treatment center, you have a couple of companies, you're still a professional skateboarder. You got Trick of the Year a couple years back, that big Forbes magazine article. So a lot of accomplishments, which I want to get into, but I feel like you have a very unlikely path that you've gone through to get to where you are. And I think that story in of itself is like mad inspiring. So I would love to hear about how things kind of unfolded for you, what drove you sort of over the years, and how you've come to where you are now, and what the future holds as well. Yeah. So let's just go right back to the early days. Can we start there?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And I'll just ask you stuff, and then I appreciate that. A lot of my guests, we sometimes get into like pretty heavy stuff. So
I like heavy.
You do? Like I thought you would.
I like heavy,
but I know you do. But I appreciate that it's a lot to ask of guests. To like talk about some of the most profound, deep, painful experiences of your life, but also some of the most inspiring. So I'll let you limit us in terms of like where you want to go, where you don't want to go in the discussion, if that's cool.
All good.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
All right.
Shoot away.
All right. Okay. Well, you grew up where? Early years?
I grew up in San Diego, California. I was born there. And then I moved to Japan when I was 6, where my dad was in the military. So we got stationed after the Gulf War in Japan, Yokosuka, Japan.
Right. And your family early life, okay, what kind of neighborhood did you grow up in, or were you born into?
I grew up in suburban neighborhood in a place called Claremont in San Diego. Right. Some might not say it's too suburban. It's middle class.
Yeah. And your dad was pretty high up in the military, huh? And he had, he was in the Air Force, was he?
No, he was in the Navy. He was a commander in the Navy.
Right.
And he was a commander in the Gulf War for the main aircraft carrier, the Ranger, for that war. And then after that, he got stationed in Japan. But the cool thing about after the war and stuff, they had something called a Tiger Cruise. So I was able to fly to Hawaii to meet my dad in the carrier and take that same ship back to San Diego. So I got to...
Yeah.
It's called a Tiger Cruise. It was like a little field trip for the dependents.
Oh, interesting. No, that's cool. But I can imagine having a military dad on its own probably kind of informed how you grew up as well, right? I can imagine, especially one that has been sort of battle hardened, has had to make those tough decisions, has probably commanded many people. Having someone like that as your father, what was that like?
It was interesting. It wasn't the typical upbringing for a household. So he'd be gone 6 months at a time on deployment. So that was pretty normal for me. And it was just made me that much more excited when he came back. So just kind of like the back in the day, like, you know, it changed my perception as a dad too, just of what it means to be a father, of you have to be there every second, every time. And back in the day, you'd go off to war to protect your rights and your freedoms and stuff. And sometimes you might not come back, and you can still be a good dad and not present.
You can be a good dad and not present. Yeah. And was that the outlook as a child? Like, dad's going to war, he may not come back. Was that part of the thinking, or no?
I knew it was unlikely, but it was a possibility.
It was a possibility, yeah.
We've had some scares where he had to call on military phones and just let us know what was going on when he would disappear or be MIA. So you mentioned something to me, I think it was yesterday, which was, I think, profound, when in adulthood you had a conversation with your dad about smoking in the house and his response to you. Yeah, he was you know, this is more like currently I was just like, Dad, you know, you can't be smoking in the house. People don't smoke in the house no more. You're getting older. Like it's not good for your health. Like, you're smoking in the house. Like, just smoke outside or something. And he just looks at me while smoking, and he's just like, you know, Brandon, have you ever blown up cities before? Like, are you responsible for taking any lives? He's like, okay, exactly. So I'm gonna smoke my cigarettes. He's like, I know you're in mental health and everything, but this is on a different level.
And like, how do you respond to that, right?
I just see the coldness in him that there's some things I don't understand, and the way that people deal with them in their lives and how they cope with it are in different ways. And some stuff, especially when it comes to war, is going to live within you forever.
Yeah. I cannot pretend to understand what it's like to be in that position, make those decisions, and be responsible for taking people's lives. But yeah. Okay. And your mom was a physician?
Yes, she practiced as a nurse practitioner.
Got you. Okay. So, childhood, San Diego, and that's where you started skating? Or was it in Japan?
I first got on a skateboard when I was 2 years old. My uncle gave me like a He-Man board, but I really started skateboarding in Japan.
Got you. Okay, so families moving to Japan, huge, I'm assuming, culture shock going from San Diego to living in Japan. Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not only a culture shock, but it was at the same time, I was exposed to some family trauma at the same time. So that was the real cutting cord of like the personality split in my life. But
family trauma?
I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah. Family trauma?
Yes. So family trauma, when I'm getting off to go to the plane. So I grew up with a big family with 6 brothers and sisters, but they're all older. They're all older than me. They were adults, and only one of my sisters was a teenager, like 16 in high school, and I'm just like the baby of the family. But when my dad gets stationed in Japan and we're at the airport, the second to youngest sister is at the airport crying with my mom, like to the side, and she's just like, and I'm just like, what's going on? I'm just with my dad, like we're about to get on the plane, and blurts out like, that's my son. So it turns out that my parents were really my grandparents, and my brothers and sisters were my aunts and uncles, and one of my aunts was actually my mom. So and then I'm off to Japan. So
like, how does, I mean, I can't even imagine having that dropped on you and then just walk onto a plane.
Yeah. It's pretty, it was the heaviest thing ever. It's just, it just takes away your whole sense of reality of what's real. So I guess the best way to explain it is just like, I just felt like kind of what people are saying, you know, nowadays, sometimes like online and stuff, like, oh, this is a simulation. It brought that, it really felt like I was in a simulation. And then just, I guess, try to picture imagining like you have proof that this is a simulation. Yeah. And you realize you're in it. That's the feeling I had. In the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we may call that like dissociating sometimes, you know, when something really heavy out of the blue drops on you, people sometimes cope by like, it's sort of like you feel like as though you're not there, or you're like, you're an observer of what's going on, or things don't seem real.
Well, it's just like you're a product of what you were taught and what you believe, and your upbringing from people who mentored you, or your parents if you had them in your life. But that's a result of who you are, really. So if that's like taken away, and actually say you sitting here right now, it's just like, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, none of this is really real.
That's right. Yeah, it's I can't imagine, because but also like what does that inform you in terms of like who you can trust, who you can't, what people tell you is true, is not true?
Exactly. And that's why I had trust issues in my life. Like,
I can imagine
if that can happen to the closest people who love and care about me, like how could I trust anybody? So I definitely had trust issues, like with like men, women, it didn't matter. You know, and then like if I did get lied to in the future or something, it would reinforce that. I'd just be like, I knew it. I was expecting it.
That's right.
But also me knowing what I know now, expecting that, you also attracted to.
Say that again.
If you expect something,
that's what
you attract it to you.
No, I get that. I mean, as a kid experiencing that, you want to protect yourself from that ever happening again, right? So I can imagine like, okay, trust goes out the window. Like you're not going to allow anybody else to get close to be able to hurt you like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so like jumping on the plane that gets dropped on you, and you arrive in Japan, new environment, new culture, new language, but also new understanding of your family, all at the same time.
Yeah, they weren't my family anymore.
Oh man. Yeah, fair enough.
I was just like, I just looked at it like, everybody was in on this big lie. Okay, who am I? Like, so I had skateboarding, and that's why I say that's where I started skating, because that was my healthy outlet. And going through that pain, skateboarding, and having the reason why I don't have a fear with skateboarding or anything is because that amount of trauma and pain, like skating was like nothing. There was nothing to fear, but it was an amazing outlet. And my goal was to like, I just want to get good at skateboarding, turn pro, and be free from all these people.
How did you discover skateboarding in Japan?
I went over there with the skateboard, and then I had double trauma because when I got to LA, I had my first board, which was a Miracle Magnum board, his Eminem board, and it was a brand new setup, and it was in LA, and my board got stolen.
Oof.
At the LAX. I think we had to stop there, and it got stolen. So
At the airport.
yeah, before I went to Japan. So when I got to Japan, I didn't have a board, and there was no easy internet access.
Dude, another hit on your way to
Yes.
Japan.
Yes.
On top of everything else, your board gets stolen.
Yes, my brand new board, my brand new setup. It was
That's rough.
so
Yeah, I've had a few rage moments in my life that I remember well, and one was as a kid when a cop took away my skateboard, which is like the most valuable possession I had. I can't imagine your new setup getting stolen in that context. Okay, so you show up to Japan without a board.
without a board, and I just I start school and everything, and get into basketball, and I was playing soccer and stuff, and I'm walking home one day. This is like a spiritual experience, and I feel bad about it, but I'm walking home one day in my cleats and soccer gear, and I'm just walking past a house on the base, and there's just a board like kind of in the grass by the sidewalk, like a board, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm just like, I need a board. Like,
I know where this is going.
If someone's gonna leave this board out here on the grass, like, I'm like, I need this board. So I took the board.
Right.
Yeah, and I took it home, and it was mine. And that's when I was starting to be able to skate, and the board was like messed up and kind of mismatched, but it didn't matter. It was a start.
Yeah.
The trucks were the same, so that's all that mattered. The wheels were kind of like mismatched, and I was just like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I always think to myself too, that's what kept, like, was the piece that led me to be able to continue skateboarding. I always wonder, like, if I didn't take that board, how that would have affected someone else's journey whose board that belonged to. But I believe God put that board for me, and I'm just gonna, go with that.
Let's go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. That sounds about right. I mean, you never know, but you certainly have contributed to a lot of people's skateboard journey over the years, so you've made up for it. Okay, so you're skating in Japan, and did that sort of impact who your friend group ended up being? Was it sort of like the skateboard group?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of skaters on the base who I skated with, 3 tops, and then they kind of ended up falling off or moving back to the States. But I was living in the economy, and my parents would go to work and leave me in our house, which was like a big house. And an experience happened when we first moved there with like some ghosts and stuff, and I'm not gonna even saying that lightly, like, it just happened, and my parents would go to work, and I wasn't going to be staying in that house alone.
Sorry, did you say ghosts?
Yeah, or whatever it was.
All
like,
right.
when we first moved into the house with my mom and my dad, there was, like, someone clearly there, like, and went into, like, the tatami room when we moved in. Like, it was at night, and my dad was like, oh. He's like, let me go see who that is, and went into the tatami room, and no one was there. And there's no doors in there, and I was just like... My dad's like, oh, that was weird. And then they just kept moving in their stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're staying here? Like, they just brushed it off like it was nothing. I'm like, we all seen that. Like,
dude, this is getting heavier in here because, okay. And then
so that was more trauma. More trauma.
Dude, bro. Okay, so, yeah, you move into a house with ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a ghost, but somebody was there and... went into the room, and then they weren't there, so there was that.
Yeah, how do you explain that?
So I got the board. I'm in sports, and my parents would go to work, and I'm not staying in that house. Like, my parents, I'll tell you something. My parents, this is how serious people can be. Like, whatever. It was a 2-story house, and I had my own room, and I'm like, oh, we're staying here, and my parents, and I'm just like, well, I'm not sleeping alone. Like, I guess we're all sleeping together.
Right.
You know?
Fair enough.
Like, and serious.
Yeah.
I was serious about that. And then,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't stay in the house. When they go to work, I leave the house and just kind of explore and learn my way around the neighborhood.
And how old are you at this point?
I'm like 6, 7,
Okay.
7.
Yeah, very young.
I'd explore the neighborhood. I knew a couple Japanese words to get on the train back to the base, and I would just go out and explore, just, you know, go farther and farther to learn where I was at. And I made it to the beach one day, and I'm down at the beach in Nobi, and I look down and I see some skaters. I see like 4 skaters, and they're all older and stuff. And I go and I'm just like, what's up? And one of them kind of spoke broken English, and now who's my brother, Tominori. And then he lived in Nobi too, and we just started hanging out and stuff. And then I moved from like my American friends to like the Japanese side with that, and started going off base a lot more. And you know, he's the one who taught me how to kickflip.
Yeah. Yeah. And which brings you to sort of full circle now, doesn't it? In terms of, because you mentored
Yeah.
his, yeah.
Now his sons both skate. One of them skates for the weekend, Shintaro Hongo, and the other one's Masaki Hongo, who skates for Skate Mafia.
Right, which is the company that you're on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and you know, I got my family in Japan. I got family in the U.S. So it's an amazing, beautiful thing, and you know, I'm mentoring them now.
So how many years were in Japan?
I believe 6.
6 years. Okay. So, and you sort of consider Japan to be where you grew up, essentially, would you say?
Yes, it was obviously the most impactful time, and
Yeah.
growth-wise, I was definitely, when I moved back to the States, I was a different person for sure. And my outlook on life and
Different person.
things were different. The same people, like, who I would, like, even my cousins and just people I went to school with who I met in middle school, there's only very few who I could relate with.
Right, right. So that must have been a loss in of itself to have to then, you've now established a life, you know, you have people that are meaningful to you in Japan, but now suddenly you got to up and leave.
Yeah, it was traumatic coming back to America too, because just this is how much of a different time it was. We didn't get to see the American news or anything. My mom had my uncle taping the news in the US on VHS and then sending it to Japan, so that's how we'd watch the news.
Right. I mean, this is before obviously social media and smartphones. And
Absolutely.
even YouTube, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just seen a pattern. I was just like, somebody gets murdered every single day in the US. I'm like, why would we want to go back there?
Right.
I'm like, every single day, I'm like, without fail, I'm like, this is insane. So that's all I seen. There was like the Rodney King riots and all this stuff. I was just like, let's you know. So it was crazy learning how to be an American moving back to the States.
That's right. And like also because in Japan you were probably the only black kid sort of amongst your skateboarding friend group, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, I was when I was little.
And did that impact you at all, or did you just feel like you're one of the guys?
That made me feel very welcome, not different, but I knew I was, and it made me feel fortunate and special. So
got you. Okay, but now you got to learn to be quote unquote American again.
Yes, which was very difficult.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Just a perfect example of one time my bike got stolen. It was on the side of my house. Well, I guess I got repaid back for that skateboard. So
it goes around.
My bike got stolen, and I couldn't understand. I was just like, oh, like I must have misplaced my bike. Like, and I was like going with that for a couple of days, and I'm just like, where did I put my bike? And then someone's like, you know, your bike got stolen. It's gone. And I'm just like, no, someone must have really needed it and like just needed to borrow it and stuff. They'll bring it back, like, 'cause you don't like steal in Japan and stuff. And I had to really wrap my mind around it. Like, oh, people will take your stuff. So that was difficult.
Like, you're not safe. People will take your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it took me a few days to believe that someone could steal my bike. I didn't understand.
Right. Okay. And then, so how old are you at this point? You're back in California, San Diego?
Yeah, I'm 12, 13, 12,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
12-ish.
Yeah. And then back in public school in San Diego.
Yes.
And skating, what was that?
Middle school.
Middle school, yeah.
Met up with, I just skated over because I remembered where Peter Smoke lived, and I was on a mission to be with the best, and he was...
And how did you know about Peter at that point?
I knew him before I left. I somehow, one of my mom's friends lived right next to him, and one day we're driving by and I seen him out front, and I never forgot that. And then I knew he was the best in where I grew up in Claremont. So I was like, I need to find him.
And at that point, was he a sponsored skateboarder or not yet?
He was able to do whatever he wants, but I think when I met up with him, with Ken Russell, they were getting voice skateboard started.
Got you. So you went out and I searched him out.
Yeah, I went and found him.
Okay. And what was that like?
I knocked on his door, and it's funny because he knew Peter's very smart, you know, like, because my mom would take me up to Mervin's. They had Red Curve.
By the way, that's been my impression of all you guys, you professional skateboarders. You guys are mad smart.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
He's never said that.
That goes for you. I think I have said that to you, Chris. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when I was, they used to skate these Red Curves at Mervin's, and it was on the corner, so it was like crazy. It'd be like teenagers, like a big, like there's a wall on the main street, and there'd just be like all these kids on the wall, and then they're just these perfect red curbs, and that's where all the skaters would be. And my mom would be like, I'm not taking you there. I'm like, oh, please. And I was able to go there a couple of times.
Why didn't she want you to go there?
Well, because it was like, this is like early 90s. Like, it's like,
these are hoodlums.
It's going off.
That's right.
Like,
yeah. So
it's all retroed out, like music bumping, like boombox. Like, it's just like prime culture. And so I went there a couple of times and met him and was just trying to skate around, and snuck out a couple of times at night because it was in skating distance from my house. So I went and I went to his house, knocked on the door, and just was like, he opened the door and he's like, oh, what's up, you're back.
Oh, he remembered you.
Yeah, he remembered me, and he knew that I left too.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
And I was just like, how did he know, you know?
Yeah.
But it was like kind of a big deal, you know, like, I guess not, you know, but right there he had me sit out on the curb while he got ready, and then we started skating from there.
Okay. And you have some funny stories about those early days skating with those kids, huh? Like they pushed you pretty hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Peter, it's not how things are nowadays, and we would call it soft. Like I grew up very hard.
Right.
There was a lot of tough love, and if you weren't putting in like your 100% effort, they were gonna make you, or he was gonna make you. So just for an example, we'd be at a spot, and if I wasn't skating, he'd be like, oh, because right away he started picking me up. Peter was in 11th grade when I was in 7th.
Okay. So,
no, when I got to 9th grade, he was just graduating. So anyways, he was in high school, I was in middle school, and him and the homeboy Lapdog would pick me up every day from school, take me skating. So if we're at a spot and I wasn't skating, and I'd be like, oh, it'd be like something big I didn't want to skate. He'd be like, oh, you don't want to skate? He's like, we picked you up to go skate. Like, there's a time where he focused my board and they left me there.
Oof. And by focus, you mean he broke your board in half.
Yes.
Yeah, and he left you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like hit me up when you're ready to skate. Don't come to my house. And then I'd go over there. Like there's a time I walk with my board like messed up, and then he'd have like a used board for me. He'd be like, "Sorry about that, Billy." He'd be like, "You know what it is," but it was just real tough love. That's how he got down. Like
yeah.
there's
do you think
times I had to walk home,
Jeez.
and I had to be home by the streetlights. Like I've gotten left a few times.
Jeez. And do you think that pushed you to where you are now in terms of developing your skateboarding, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll give you one example I'll never forget. And I can't believe I just can't believe, like, looking back, it's pretty insane. But I remember I was learning switch trays down school. We went to Madison, and it's a six stair. It's a small six stair, and I landed a switch tray down it.
Yeah.
Like for the first time ever, and he's just sitting there looking at me like a blank face. He's like, "You ain't got it down unless you do it 5 times in a row." And he did not let me leave until I did it 5 times in a row.
Jeez. That's like borderline abusive.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the word they put it to it now. But he would say something else.
That's right. He's pushing you to be your best, from his perspective, I assume.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. So that's how I grew up skating. It wasn't, it wasn't. It was really, really hard, and it was fun, but it was not. It was constant pressure and constant. You can do better, and that wasn't good enough. And stop rolling your kickflips on the ground, and
right. And like for people that may be listening who don't know what a switch tray is, so a tray flip is basically when you ollie your board spins on, I guess you would say, the x-axis and the z-axis. So it's spinning one direction and the other direction at the same time, and then but you're doing it your opposite stance. So it's a switch.
It's like doing it left-handed.
That's right.
If you're right-handed.
That's right.
And if you're right-handed, it's doing it left-handed.
And down.
Or if you're left-handed, doing it right-handed.
Down 6 stairs.
Yes.
Yeah. And have to do that 5 times in a row.
Yes.
And how old are you at this point?
I think I was 14.
Yeah. Yeah, because you came on the scene pretty young. Right?
Yes.
Like most of the people that were skating at that level were much older than you.
Yeah, everybody I was with, I was definitely the youngest.
Yeah. It must have been pretty tough for you to be picked up by these older kids at your junior high school.
No, it was cool. Like Peter was the most popular dude in the area in his school and everything. Like Peter is a very likable person. So it's he has a certain charisma about him. So he was. Yeah, it was cool. I had a ride.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like you get picked up by these older kids waiting for you, blasting their music after school. Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so at this point now, I'm guessing your goal in life. So this is Chris, when did you get into skating? Like getting on the scene? You're a little bit after this.
Scene or skating?
Well, skating. When did you start?
93, 94. Started in the middle of 94.
94. And you have a similar story because you started in Asia as well, right?
Yeah,
Singapore, yeah.
It's amazing.
Different experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like white guy instead of a black guy.
That's right.
But like definite minority style.
Right.
Like it wasn't and we'd have American sailors and stuff coming because it was a port city, right? So we'd come and we'd see these American guys once in a while skating, and we were like, damn, we suck. And then they would leave and we wouldn't see them again for like, 8, 9 months again, and then sometimes they'll come, sometimes they won't. But yeah, it was different experience than that, but yeah, similar but different.
Same thing with me. Like there was a couple. We had a couple American sailors too who were skaters, and they were just like, they had money because they had a job, obviously, and they just had all their stuff and gear, and they were just good at skating, like in a different way. I'm like, they got the American like they're tightened up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, skateboard didn't have like internet, like the internet wasn't too hot back then, and social media wasn't there, so it was all just like what the skate shop had, and you know, we're like 5 years behind basically because Japan had its own scene. They have their own scene.
Yeah, because you didn't have a scene where you were. I don't
was
think.
I mean, there was, but I mean, the guy that I bought my board off of, it still has a skate shop there. So
Oh, crazy!
It's like,
yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah, it was very, very tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was like 94-ish.
yeah, 94, 94ish. Okay, got you. And then you came back to North America
I came in 96 to London, Ontario,
right.
to finish a year of school because the national service was compulsory in Singapore, and we didn't want to do that. So I came back here, and then I went back to Singapore, and then I moved here. So in 97, I moved here.
To Vancouver.
Yeah, we did like a year, a little under a year in Singapore again, and then I came here again.
Yeah, that's, you know, I actually didn't make that parallel between the two of you because you both started skating in Asia, came back here, but your skateboarding influences were so different, and you had a completely different path, but you're both...
Jack Curtin was in Indonesia doing his thing.
Wow.
At the same time.
Yeah, I think right close, early 90s, like early 90s, but that's where he...
Crazy. You guys didn't obviously know each other then.
No, but I think there was like, I think back now and I'm like, I could remember like hearing about things, but I didn't know obviously who it was, or I
God.
didn't register who it was, or if there was a...
Only if I'd started skating in Asia, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Builds character for sure.
I'm sure, yeah. Okay, so you're skating a lot in high school. You got these older friends. You're getting like good, and I'm guessing at this point your outlook of what the future holds is probably, you know, completely different than what your parents want for you. I'm guessing like your military dad, you know, a physician mom, they probably want you to go military academics, and you're probably, I'm guessing, wanting something different.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad wanted me to go to the military, more specifically like Navy SEALish, and my mom wanted me to be a doctor, but I had other plans and I wasn't listening to anything they said.
You still at this point have lost the trust. The trust is still gone.
Trust and respect, like it was just gone. I was doing my own thing.
They're not telling you what. They're not able to tell you what to do.
I'm like, I will be self-made, and who knows? That's what.
That was the drive.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, and like I was telling you before, like anything worth attaining has came with some sort of suffering.
Yeah.
And it taught me a lot, and it taught me to basically emotionally and how to deal with trauma. It happened later, but it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
It made me want to be self-made for sure, and not put my trust in anybody.
Right. Do you remember the conversation you had with your parents? Was there one seminal conversation where they're like, we want you to do this, and you're like, nope, I'm doing this? Oh
yeah, I would tell them like, I'm going to be a professional skater. Like that's all there is to it, and I'll take it from there.
Got you.
And then even my 6th grade teacher in Japan, his name was Mr. Beers. I remember everyone was like, had do this envelope of where you'll be by, I think it was like 2012 or something like that. And it was like, I'm going to be a professional skateboarder. And also they did this whole thing of like, when you're on break, what is things for exercise you can do for yourself. And I wrote this whole thing of what skateboarding does for, the freedom, and how it, how it's just good for exercise. It was basic. I was in 6th grade, and they sat there and argued with me about how skateboarding was an exercise.
So funny.
And, I don't want to skip ahead, but I just want to let you know, when I was 18, I turned pro. I went back to Japan, back to that school, to Mr. Beers, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's not 2012 yet, but I'm a little early.
That's sick. That's so awesome.
But he was just super happy. He
must have
already
been,
knew.
Yeah.
They, like, you know, open arms, was just like super, super stoked.
Okay, so high school, you turned pro at 18. I'm guessing you're making money from skateboarding at this point.
Yeah, I was making money since I was 13.
Since you were 13. Because the first company you got on was Voice, and then Shorty's.
And then came Shorty's.
Yeah, and that was a sort of rock star time.
Yeah,
huh?
it was insane. It was really insane.
You got on before Pete did, didn't you?
Yeah.
good.
I left Voice to get on. Then I told him about Peter. Like, you gotta get this guy.
They had who's the next pro thing for Shorties for like ages, and it was just a
Question
blank
mark?
silhouette or question mark,
Yeah.
and I was like, who the hell's it gonna be? And honestly, I had no idea who Peter Smolik was, so I was like, who's Peter Smolik?
Uh-huh.
But I knew who you were because of all your Shorty stuff already.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then the video came out with his hat turning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Like, oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a problem for sure. Like,
He was so good.
It's so good.
yeah.
What was it like for you to leave Voice and kind of leave your
It
homies
was
behind?
heartbreaking. I was leaving the person who I looked up to, who was my mentor, and Peter Smolik from my hometown, and Kent Russell, who gave me the opportunity. It was a very hard decision when you get called by Chad Muska, like the top one with this company. It's just all this news, getting paid the most the skater's ever been paid by a board company. It's Shorty's Bolts. It's everything, and it was a business decision, and I was young, like 14, 15, and I had to make the right decision. And
So who did you consult with at that point?
I consulted with probably a few of my friends who skated, and probably my dad. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, I had to do it. It was heartbreaking to have that
What was
phone call with Ken.
What was their reaction? Yeah, tell me about that. What was their reaction?
Well, Ken was just like, "Oh, we got this stuff going on," and just telling me about all the developments with Voice and stuff going on, and everything. And I was just like, "Yo, like I gotta make this move. Like, it's time."
Yeah.
And it was the right move.
Yeah. No, obviously, but
Just say that. Yeah.
but the skate scene, sort of late '90s, early 2000s, was pretty intense, huh? With like partying and.
Well, it was like, people just don't know. It's like, it wasn't just like intense. Like, you got Nike and other companies right there. I will tell you right now, it's Red Bull, Dime, all this like stuff going on, but you can't even amount to like the life we like lived, because it was like new, and we had like crazy freedom. And I'll just explain it to you. So you could biggest board company, biggest clothing company, biggest grip tape company, Bolts. Then we had,
Bearings, ooh.
like, and bearings. And bushing. We took over the whole industry in every capacity. So, like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay, there's people who have a shoe brand or ride this or whatever, and then you add Osiris into it,
Right.
and then that was that. It's just, there'll be nothing like it ever again, I don't believe, because that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm talking board, clothes, grip tape, bearings,
Right.
like, and then we had Osiris shoes and the whole D3 craze, and this all is happening at once. Like, it was insane. It was really, really insane. Like,
Right.
we were busy.
And with that, and with that comes the money, the freedom, the fame, and the partying, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I had just like unlimited credit card budgets, unlimited travel. Like, I was able to do whatever I want, and I was making a bunch of money. I wasn't paying my rent. Like, I had a bunch of money coming in, and I didn't have to pay for anything. Like, that's like that's unheard of.
Right. Yeah. So
They were a little more liberal. The companies were a little more liberal on their like per diems and how much you took and how much you think back then for me anyway.
yeah, I'm sure.
And then
Yeah.
they cracked down on it real hard in like 2000, mid 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, things change quickly. So, and then is that where the partying started for you?
It started because I was hanging around with older people, and then I was traveling the world, so drinking age changed, in Canada too,
Yeah.
and Asia and just everywhere, so it was just normal. And then what happened for me, it wasn't the drinking that was like the problem, of course, but that just lit. My whole thing of getting out of my trauma was being successful and ditching everybody who ever done me any wrong and showing them and proving them that they messed with the wrong person, that I wasn't the one. So yeah, okay, I got what I wanted and I had that freedom, but for some reason when I started drinking, the alcohol accessed that trauma that I never properly dealt with, which was the feeling abandonment, the lost sense of reality and who I was in my identity. So that's why I was a different person when I drank, and the decisions I made and the depression, because it was igniting these traumas that I had skateboarding to kind of mask. I had a healthy release of coping with it, but say you get hurt, you take that skating away, and then you're just drinking, and then you're left with the real issue. Like someone, drinking problem is drinking to self-medicate from something, even if it's subconscious, something that they don't realize it was, because I thought I was over all that. I thought I was past that, but I wasn't. I never properly took the steps to...
I mean, you got no therapy, I'm guessing, to deal with.
No.
And so for you, drinking brought that stuff to the surface.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. And so when you get hurt, especially when you get hurt, like your natural release of endorphins, your coping with skateboarding is gone. You have alcohol, things are coming to the surface, and you can't cope with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that, from what I understand, ended up taking a life of its own. The drinking and the partying and the drugs, huh?
Well, what it was a whole identity of itself that got left dormant.
What do you mean?
That hurt child.
Yeah.
When I went over to Japan.
Yeah.
That never got the proper therapy, or never learned how to take my own inventory. Never got to deal with these issues in a healthy way, or got closure.
Yeah.
So there's still this young, immature child locked away that was in pain and hurt. And when I drank, it brought that child out. Sometimes that child would be happy and like a kid running around happy, hugging and loving everyone, just like what a child wants. But then sometimes this child would throw fits and act out because it was in hurt or in pain.
Yeah, fair enough. And okay, so because I know drugs and alcohol had a huge impact on your life, but I think we skipped an important event in your life even before you turned pro, wasn't it? And that was that incident when you were running from the cops on the bridge.
Oh yeah, when I was 17, we were having a bonfire.
Yeah. And
I think I was in trouble for curfew violation or something. I had curfew or something small, but we're having a bonfire after curfew, after 10, and the police were coming. There's only one way in and one way out of the pits we were at. And I was in the back of my friend's truck because we all got in our cars because we seen the lights, and I was in the back and they had like the roadblock and they were stopping all the cars, probably to see if they're drinking. And then I told my friends like, hey, the bridges were there. I was like, I'll meet you up on the bridge after you go through this, because I was in some trouble already. And then that's when I ran up to the bridge. Oh, and then, so I'm up on the bridge and it's nighttime, and then I see the cops coming up the bridge from like the light down there. And I'm just like, damn. I'm like, okay, I start running up the bridge, and then I'm like, oh, the cops can't make it. I'm like, oh, the cops are coming up, but if I run across the bridge, there's a center divider, and I just hop on the opposite flowing traffic, there was no cars really, then they can't make a U-turn on the bridge. And so I ran across like the bridge and then hopped over the wall, and then realized it was just an illusion. The bridges were actually split and the other bridge was way over there. And then I was just like...
And so, just to kind of paint the picture, how high up are you at this point in the bridge?
The bridge was 50 feet.
50 feet. And you hop over the center divider thinking you're going to land on the bridge on the other side.
Yes.
But it's just open.
Yes. There's a huge gap, and the bridges are split.
Oh, God.
And like far.
Yeah. And you fall.
Yes. And then I start falling.
Yeah. And what's going through your mind?
You want to know what's going through my mind? This is the most like craziest spiritual experience I ever had. So I run across the bridge, I jump over thinking that I'm just gonna hop on the other side and run down, and they're split. And I hop over and they're split, and my first thought was, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And then the second thought is like right away, this is all while I'm falling. My second thought is just like, nobody's going to know what really happened. My parents are not going to know that this is an accident. And then my third thought is like, it's over with. Like it's over with. I'm about to die. And then another thought was just like, oh, it's already over and I just got here. And then...
Got here.
Yeah, got here. And then I was just like, wait a minute, I just got here. Like, I remember coming here. And...
By here, you mean?
To the world, being born. And I was just like, wait, I remember coming here. And then the feeling, knowing that I was about to die, I remembered the first thought that I thought coming here. And then I was just like, the thought coming here was way gnarlier than being about to die. Like, way gnarlier. I remember that. I was like, oh, it's over with, I'm about to die. But then I remember coming here and I was like, oh, it was way gnarlier coming here.
And you're referring to the experience of being born.
Yes, exactly. So then I think, like, I don't remember where I was at, but I remember it being a decision to come here. I remember it being a decision to come here. And I remember my first thought when I got here.
Yeah.
And remember I told you when I jumped off the bridge and I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
When I was born, my first thought getting here was, oh shit, I fucked up.
Like things were better a few seconds ago.
I just remember just being like, it was just a feeling of like, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
I'm like, this is going to be way gnarlier than I thought. And somewhere in my mind, it was, the best way to reference it is if, just like I was telling you the other night, like imagine I'm like, hey, you know, Chris, hey, you down to go to this, you know, to this place and get this amazing experience, get all this knowledge, get all this interactions, all this love, all this experience, all these amazing things. But guess what? It's only going to take 10 seconds. And you're like, okay, whatever, Brandon. Okay, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, let's meditate. Let's go. You want to go to another planet? And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever, Brandon. And then we like meditate or something, and then all of a sudden you're waking up day one somewhere else in another body,
Yeah.
and everything you've known or loved or whatever before is gone, and you're like, this is gonna be a long fucking 10 seconds.
Yeah. All of the, and you know, time slows down. Time is relative, so time slows down when you're going through these intense experiences because your thoughts are flowing like really fast. So the rate of your thoughts is much faster than regular time. So it feels as though things are in slow motion. And when people describe, I remember it in slow motion, it's because it was intense and there was a lot going on within those few seconds. So I can imagine that. Wow. Okay. So, because not many of us have experiences where we think, this is it, I'm going to die. Right. Particularly at that age.
Yeah, and it made me realize something. It made me realize, like I was telling you, you either know or you don't. Like, I don't, beliefs are beliefs, but that's not my only experience. But that was the first one that I remembered. And if anyone does any studying or and switched on in any ways, it's just like there's a question of like, why did we forget? And I remembered, and one thing I know for sure is that it was a choice coming here for a reason to experience something that yet we couldn't wherever we were before.
Yeah.
And it's only for like 10 seconds.
And it's yeah. Because I think it was most of us. Why do we choose to forget? Most of us. It seemed like it required a profound, intense experience to bring that memory back for you.
Yeah.
Most of us don't experience that. That level of
Well, I thought it was over with. I thought it was for sure done. So something activated in me to where I had to use that part of my brain or source or whatever, because I thought, I know the feeling of now of being like, oh, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
And that's what came out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of, I just, the most craziest thing is I was just like being about to die. I remember it being way gnarlier coming here.
Okay. You land on the ground. Do you remember landing?
Yeah, I landed on the ground. I think I landed on my feet. My knees hit my chest. I got the wind knocked out of me. I thought I was dying then. I thought that was the process of dying. I caught my breath and I'm like laying bottom of this bridge. I'm like, oh, and I try to move and I just feel my legs broke. And then, some people see me down there. The ambulance come. They cut open.
No, but there was people there, right? There was some people fishing.
Yeah, there's some people fishing.
There's like some.
Yeah, there's some people fishing. I think they weren't supposed to.
Tell me about that.
Be here
because I think there's a few Mexican people there.
Yeah. So they're Hispanics, and I think they just hopped aboard or something. They're fishing, and I was down there, and they came, and I was just like, help me, I fell off the bridge. And they're looking at the bridge and they're just like thinking I'm crazy. They're like, you didn't fall off the bridge. And I was like, no, look at my leg. My leg was like this big. And they're like, oh. And then somehow they called the ambulance and they're just like, we got to go.
Oh, they skipped out when the ambulance arrived.
I think one of them stayed or something, but they cut off my clothes right there.
The ambulance, the paramedics. Yeah. And so you had you didn't have surgery. There was a sort of conscious sedation, and they
I don't lie. I think they should remove that term, conscious sedation, because they didn't put me to sleep, and I stayed in the hospital and they put me on stuff, and I'm like, cool, like probably gonna have like surgery tomorrow, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not gonna have surgery. They're like, we're gonna place it and set it, and I'm like, set what? My leg, my shin? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, it's fine. You'll have we're gonna sedate you. And so I'm like, there's no amount of sedation you can give me to make me forget that you're breaking the middle of my leg back into place. I'm like, I need to go to sleep. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So they did that. They were like there.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to have that memory.
No, I was awake. I partied a lot. I drank a lot of alcohol. Like,
because what they typically do is give like some ketamine, maybe some propofol, and it puts you in a dissociative state.
No, there was nothing disassociative about it.
You remember it. You're not supposed to remember.
I was like in a hallway and they were just like, I was just like, no. And it was the worst pain ever. They're like, okay, we're going to go x-ray it now to see if it's set. And they go x-ray it and they're like, it's still not set.
Oof.
And I was just like, so they had to do it again. Like, I had to get my leg broken into place, like awake. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. And then they casted you.
Yeah, and then they casted me. And
what's insane for me is that this happened the year you became pro.
No, that was the year before.
Well, the year before, but you're 17. By 18, so within a year you're pro.
Yeah, yeah. That happened beginning of 17.
Oh, I see. So about 2 years, huh?
17,
a year and a half.
I healed from that. I was all good. And then the next year, yeah, I had that car accident.
At 18, after you become pro?
No, before I turned pro.
Both of these things happened before you turned pro?
Yes.
That's... Okay, so... Yeah, we got to talk about the accident too. How are we doing for battery life?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. Okay.
That was a crazy story.
At 43, like everything will be. Are we started? So,
yeah, that's right. And today was the day that Brandon relapsed.
The GoPro is as well. Right? That's great. Not all that.
We got it.
pause. All right.
All right. What you guys? Somebody telling you what to say in your ear?
That was just
Yeah,
my AI assistant.
That's right.
I'm joking.
Okay. Okay, so we were. I want to backtrack one quick second.
Oh, good.
I think something you said struck me, and I want to get back to it because it was quite profound. Because on one hand, you're talking about you had lost trust with your parents because you felt deceived at an early age, and that really disrupted the reality of your life. Mm-hmm. And that carried you, that formed the relationship with you and your parents in many respects. But you're falling to your death from the bridge, and it's like the first or second thought is, my parents won't know what happened.
Yeah, it's mainly with them, but I still had some empathy for them of what's going to happen to me because I know they loved me, and just my own ego. Like, nobody's going to know what really happened. They're going to think like I committed suicide. And that bothered me. Like, nobody will ever know the truth of what happened.
I think it strikes me that it was, okay, you can call it ego to some extent, but it was also like you thought of the impact on your parents.
Yeah, I thought of the impact of everybody who cared about me,
right.
But mainly my parents.
Yeah. Near-death experience number 1. And then within that, I guess, so within that year or just after a year, you had near-death experience number 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. We had a cognac party, and I was with some friends, and some people came in from another school, football players, and I think there was a little confrontation. I was out front giving directions or something, and then I just said I just got ran over by this girl who was at the party with some of the people that were there. But I was at the party, and then I had my whole hospital experience. I don't remember getting hit by the car or anything.
Yeah. So drunk driver, essentially. She was intoxicated. Okay, so how does one bounce back from 2 devastating injuries to turn pro in skateboarding again? Like, what was that process like for you? Like, was there a time when you thought, okay, I'm done, my career's over? I mean...
No, never. In the hospital, they said I would never be able to skate. They said I had blood clots, had to be on blood thinners. They said all sorts of stuff that enabled me to skate, but it's just the belief in myself and what I knew was possible is just with the limitations of what we know. And some people call it miracles or anything, but from my experiences, I knew I had the power to do whatever I wanted because I chose to come here. And I know I can do whatever I want. I know whatever you put your, not only your mind to, it's just whatever you want, you can do.
Well, I suppose it's relative because if you chose to come back from death to life, then I suppose the choice to start skating again is trivial.
Yeah, true. But it was so important because that was my expression. Yeah. And that was my outlet. And I wasn't done working through the trauma yet. Even after those spiritual experiences and that the devastating accidents, that didn't remove the trauma.
Right. And okay, so you had this terrible brain injury, parietal lobe, broken leg again, hospital stay, etc. And then, but you bounced back, and shortly after that, you went pro skateboarding and right back into the celebrity lifestyle, I suppose you can call it.
Yes.
And from what I recall, you also were getting into trouble with the law at this point as well.
Yes. So my brain wasn't, I just wasn't normal. I was on medications for pain and whatever, and it wasn't, I was just still acting out. And plus, because I knew just from what I experienced, I've been through like the worst. So I was still getting into unhealthy relationships with like friends and being around the wrong people. Had like a slight ego about me because I was able to do whatever I want. What I mean by ego is just I had the freedom ego. It's just I was able to come and go as I pleased. And I think that in our human nature, there should be some structure. Gotcha. And I was just doing whatever I felt like. And sometimes doing whatever you feel like when you're intoxicated isn't necessarily the best decisions.
You end up hurting yourself and other people. Because I think your lifestyle landed you initially in jail a couple of times.
Yes.
For a reason.
DUI. The first time I got locked up, I was driving my Civic. You like cars, so
yeah.
I had my
Type R engine.
Yeah, my engine, my exhaust, my cams, my computer, had it dumped, and just like, oh, the car was so good. And I got in a fight with someone and drove off and totaled it, and that's when I got my first DUI.
What was it like the first time going to jail?
It was just, I was like drunk and I had money, so I'll just bail out. Like I had a cut above my eye, and that's the only thing I was worried about. I was in there and then just bailed out. But it sucked. Yeah. I remember being in there though, but I was just standing there with like a hard face. I was 18, so you know.
Right. And so how does from one perspective you would think, okay, this kid, he's got everything, he's a professional skateboarder, he's got the fame, he's got the money, etc. Where did the street life, the crime aspect of your life, how did that evolve? Where did that come from?
Well, from what I know now, it's just I could relate better because I can feel people who were going through struggles in the streets and stuff, and me being a skateboarder and connected to that anyways, that's what I gravitate to because obviously some of these people had their own traumatic experiences, so we were unconsciously gravitating towards each other.
Interesting. Okay. And then you went to jail a couple of times, and then ultimately, but your pro career is taking off, and you're traveling, you're touring, you're doing contests, you're in magazines, you're in videos, but then ultimately that street life ends you up in prison. Right? Not jail, but prison, which is...
Yeah.
And what was... Can I ask, like, what was the charge that made you end up in prison?
It was DUI. It was mainly DUIs that stacked up in against me. I've had other charges too, like I got caught with a gun. I don't know what I was doing with that. I bought it from someone and had it in my trunk.
Yeah,
so.
Tell me about that, because I suspect, like, even in, like, the crazy sort of early 2000s skate culture, carrying a gun was sort of next level. Like, how did you even end up, like, what was the thought process? Like,
my friend had a Colt 45 from like the Vietnam War.
Okay.
So I was like, he needed money, and I was like, I'll buy it.
Well, how come?
Because I could.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, and I just bought it, and that was just like a mistake I made, and it was in the trunk of my car, and probably good that it got taken away from me. But when I got a DUI, ironically, I was at a club and there was a shooting, and I drove away in my Mercedes and sped off, and then got pulled over by the cops, and then got the DUI, and then got the gun charge.
They searched your car, and they've...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember the court process and how you ended up getting the prison time?
Yeah, I just kept putting off my court dates, not showing up, having my lawyers show up, and finally they're just like, they were like, we want him to do like a year. And I was just like, I'm not going, like, turning myself in for a year. I'm like, that's crazy. Who could turn themselves into a cage? I couldn't do that. Like, you would have to come get me. You know? Like, I can't. I don't care who says what. I'm not gonna willingly lock myself up. They're like, you need. And I'm like, no, I denied it. And they kept pushing it off. And then they're like, oh, they want you to come in for a court date. And I was like, okay, I'll come in for the court date. And then that's when the judge was just like, we're done with you. You're a menace to society. You guys are doing all this and that. My mom went up there and pleaded with them, like, oh, he's a good kid. I had a bunch of people in the courtroom. And they're like, no, we're giving you the maximum 3 years. And I was like, so surprised, and then they took me right there, like, oof. And I wasn't even surprised. I'm like, I had my daughter, my place, my animal, like, I was like, I got stuff, like, my daughter's at home, dude. They're like, we don't care about any of that.
You probably walked into that courtroom thinking you're going to walk out.
Absolutely.
The next thing you know, they're grabbing you.
Yeah, it was another traumatic experience.
Yeah, to put it lightly.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
So you get 3 years, and immediately they apprehend you, and then what happens?
It was 3 with half, so it wasn't a serious crime or violent. So it was 18 months.
Okay.
18
months, and you go to prison, and although it wasn't for a serious or violent charge, you ended up where?
So I went to county at first, waiting to catch the chain, meaning the bus to prison. And then I was waiting because I heard there was a lot more freedom in prison, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait to get there. It's just like a city.
Were you afraid? Like, if someone told me you're going to jail, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would get like face tattoos and shave my eyebrows and like try to survive.
No, I had some experience in county jail, so
okay.
And I had a name for myself, so not just in skateboarding, just like in the streets.
So did you have the fear of like what's going to happen in jail, or you thought you had it?
No, I was the fear.
Okay, so you're going in thinking I got this handled.
Oh yeah,
I got you.
100%.
Okay, all right.
Like, I mean, from what I've been through before, like, I'm like, this sucks and sucks for my daughter and my life and stuff, but I'm like, oh, we're gonna figure this out too.
Okay.
So they took me from Vista County Jail, and then the bus finally came to got us to prison. I had a bunch of stores and top ramen, beans, all chips, all this stuff to bring, and someone's like, oh yeah, you can't bring it to... This is the first time I got. This is like prison. This is where I was naive. They're like, they won't let you bring all that into...
So you got your own camping. You got your food and your...
Yeah. I stocked up on all stuff from the stores because once a week, and you know, you can order it, and I had money, so I had like big bags, and they're like, they won't let you bring that to prison. They got way better stuff you can order when you get there. And I was like, yeah, you might as well leave it here. I left my stuff there.
Right.
Take the chain to Chino prison, and that was a lie. So I just got for all my food.
Oh, already.
Yeah, and then get to Chino prison, and this is nothing like county. This is so like just imagine the movies, those old school movies, and then just like it's like that. Get in there, and then we're all like 30 people in this small cage. Like, it's so crazy. And then they start calling the people, Madrone, Sycamore. Those are, I didn't know when you go to prison, you have to get classified. So it's called reception. That means you have to go wait in a contained like cell with one or two people to wait till you get classified, because there's people doing 80 years, there's people doing 3.5.
Gotcha.
You know, so people violent, whatever, so they have to separate, put everyone in cells. So
based on the severity of the offense.
No, everyone in cells.
Oh, okay.
Everyone has to get classified. This process can take up to 4 to 6 months.
Oh, okay. So
I didn't know this. I did not know this. So, they call it Madrone, Sycamore, Madrone. I'm the last one. Where everyone else goes, I go another way. And I was just like, and then we start going downstairs, and now we're under the prison. And it's just, I just hear just like, like the movies, like towers. I'm walking past the doors, and there's like slits like this, like Hannibal Lecter doors. Like, that's it, a little slit in these doors. And I'm looking at these doors like, I know I'm not going in one of those.
Right.
Like, this is insane. And we're walking at the end, there's this sheriff with the door open, and I go, I'm like, have the chains, and I don't have any food or anything, and I go, and I look in the cell, and there's like a toilet in there, and it's flooded, and then the mattress is in the water where it's flooded. Oof. And then there's blood on the walls, and he's like, and I was just like, I'm not going in there. And then he just like grabs on his taser, and I like go in there, and I'm just like, they unhook me, and they close the door, and the door goes into the wall, like, and I was just like, why did it take so long for that door to go in that wall? Like, it went far in the wall. And then I go, and there's a light switch, flip the light switch, and it doesn't work. And I'm just like, oh shit.
And how big is this cell? What are the dimensions?
It's like as big as this carpet, like right here.
So we're talking
that
about
with the bunk bed and a sink and a toilet. That's how small it is.
So we're talking about like 4 feet by like 10 feet. 6 feet. Yeah. And
4 by 10. Yeah.
4 by 10, and they're stacked on top of each other. These cells, or it's just one floor?
Oh, there's levels, like 4 levels. Gosh. And then there's a vent in there, and just like back in the day, there's a hole in the cement that goes to all the cells.
So all the cells are these small cubicles stacked on top of each other, and one person per cubicle, essentially.
Yeah, or 2.
And what was yours? One person?
Yeah, I was in there by myself.
So with the flooded toilet and the wet mattress and blood on the walls and no light.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking?
It was just... it was the most, like, devastating thing ever. It was just like... Right at that moment, every single thing like you had was taken, like your freedom, everything. And with what I know now is the most priceless thing that can happen. Everything was stripped from me, everything. The only thing I had was like the faucet water from the sink that was dribbling down the faucet. The pressure wasn't even enough to like spout up. It was just drizzling down the pipe.
And but so in retrospect now, looking back, you can think that okay, there was a gift in that, but in the moment, you walked in with this impression that okay, I got this handled, I'm going to run the show, and suddenly all of that is taken away.
Yes.
And reality kicks in.
Yes, absolutely. It was an ego death.
Ego death.
If you think you have no ego, go sit in a cell.
So you're essentially solitary confinement is where you were. Yeah,
that's where it was in ASEC. So I was in ASEC, and that's where they put me.
And it was just because there's no room. You later found out.
Now, what talking in the vents to people, there's two things. They're like, you need to get a hold of a 602 form, fill out a complaint for cruel and unusual punishment, and yeah, you're in here you're probably here because overcrowded. And then people are like, I've been in here for 2 years.
Oh.
And I was just like, that didn't help. I was like, oh, I might not get out of here.
So the inmates are talking to each other through the vents while in solitary confinement. Yes,
they have a whole system with like quiet time, workout routines, everything.
And this is all driven by the inmates.
Mm-hmm.
Direction. So tell me about that. Yeah. Okay. So tell me about the system they had.
Oh, tell
me about when you first woke up. What was the first night there like?
Oh, when I went to sleep, people were like talking and through the vents, and it was cool, whatever. And then I really knew, like we were talking about last night about, waking up in Turkey. It's just like right when I was like sleeping like on the metal bench because I wasn't sleeping on that mat. And right in the morning, I just hear "Camaradas," and then I hear like 300 people say, "See," I was just like, and they're like, "All right, are you ready for Rutina? We're gonna start with 100 burpees. Are you ready?" Everyone's like, "See," and it's like echoing, like rumbling, like, "All right, you ready? One," and I'm just like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep either. So there's this whole militant workout routine going on while I'm in this cell. And I'm just like, and then when they're finished, then it was the whites. "All right, wood pile, are you ready?" And I was just like, my eye was just starting to twitch, like.
So it was, that is bizarre to me. So the workout routine directed by the inmates was race-based.
Yeah, it was race-based.
Did the blacks have their routine as well?
Negative. We didn't do that. But I worked out on my own. Like the blacks worked out on their own. It wasn't no militant structure because it's not really blacks' personality. It's more like they're all structured, race-based, and we were neutral with everything.
Interesting. Okay, let's get back to the solitary confinement experience, because you were talking about what it's like to have, like, what else could they take from you? They took everything from you, including your freedom, and the light of day was gone.
Yes.
And you were saying there's some beauty in that.
Yeah, because it's when you're stripped from everything you've ever had or known, then you're forced to appreciate and reflect and actually think about the things that you took for granted. And of course, in the in our human nature, we miss like people, places, and things, to keep it simple. Your family, your wife, your girlfriend, or your skateboard, or whatever it is. But even when those got stripped away, and people might obsess most about their possessions or their illusions of possessions, which is family and girlfriend or whatever, when I got stripped even away of that, like realizing that those aren't my possessions, and really deep down in the core of my human nature, all I wanted was to see like life, like a tree, a bird, and have human connection. So for me, when I got stripped away from everything, I knew we are just meant to be, and to be there for for each other. And we're light beings, because when I came out of there, like, I felt it.
When you first walked out?
Yes. And I was still in prison.
Right.
But it was when I got out of solitary confinement, I was just walking out of a smaller prison
into a bigger prison.
And then when I first seen a tree after 4 months.
You were in there for 4 months?
4 months.
Jeez. All right. Okay. So you get out of that nightmare, 4 months. And yeah, what is it like when you see a tree for the first time in 4 months?
Got out when I seen a tree, you just felt the energy, like it energized me. It just was like glowing, like the brightest I've ever seen a tree, and you can just see the rays coming off the tree, and it was just like crazy. See the birds, like see the trails, like just my eyesight was heightened so much, and it was a beautiful thing. Like, and that's how I know, like, we're light beings and energy, and we're meant to be like in nature. And it made me realize, like, when you get that stuff taken away from you, of all the things we take for granted.
Yeah. So now you're intermixing with other inmates, I'm guessing.
Yes, I'm on the main line now.
You're on the main line, and that probably, to me, that would be equally scary for me, because I'm like,
man, so by this time I have a little bit of food. I walk into the dorm, and it's just like a big party.
Okay.
It's a big party.
What do you mean?
There's just like, there's music pumping, people walking around on cell phones, people cooking in their hot pots. I put my I had the top bunk, and I put my like stuff on the top bunk and my letters and stuff, and I sat there, and I look to my left, I see someone like cooking like pasta. I look over here, someone's like rolling weed. I look over here, someone's like straining pruno, and then I look across from me, and they're shooting up, and I'm like, I need to get some tobacco. And a drink.
Yeah. It's funny because it's just perspective is so interesting, because if you go from the outside world and you walk into that same scenario, like, I'm locked up, this is prison. But if you go from solitary confinement to that scenario, you're like, wow, this is amazing. There's so much freedom here.
Yes. It's the human psyche is a trip.
Yeah.
So not to even go deeper, but just
yeah, go deep.
Yeah, as you know, I was went to Chino prison. I put in to go to fire camp school. So I was in Chino for a minute. First night I got blacked out drunk. I got a hold of tobacco, some alcohol, and some morphine. And I took that, and I blacked out on my top bunk, not even taking off my clothes. Very stupid, and then I was there for like a week, and then I caught the change, stopped at some other prisons, and went to Jamestown, which is a fire camp training.
Okay.
So went there, and I went to school to go to fire camp.
Okay.
And that was like school every day. I had to study to be a firefighter. And the reason why I want to do that is because fire camp is actually CAL FIRE, and you get to fight the fires and leave prison
Gotcha. Yeah.
and not be in prison anymore, not be locked up, and actually be a firefighter. So studied really hard for that and everything. But at the time, like Jamestown, it was dorms and stuff, and I seen the way it was controlled, and you had to get ducats to get like released, and they had church, they had school, everyone had jobs in prison, and you'd have to get released. And then on the yard, there was a yard, it was like a whole like circle with like dorms, 2 levels, and then the phone booths for phone time and stuff. And I seen this white guy, this clerk, and he ran stuff, and because he controlled the phones. He was a clerk, so I paid someone who works in the job department to fast track to a fire camp after I finished the test, and to be a clerk next to him. And that's what I did, because I wanted to control when I came in and out of the doors.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to control the phone because I could charge for that. So me and that guy worked really closely together, and then from there, we controlled the prison. We controlled who came and went, who got ducats to go to work, from work. If they want to use a phone, if they want extra phone time, they had to pay us. And if somebody was disrupting or I didn't like, we had our office, I'd just be on the computer and remove them.
That is so interesting, dude. Like, even in prison, it seems like you took a minute, figured out the system, and worked your way up to the top.
Yes. And it made me realize, just like, there's like 20 guards and like over 1,000 inmates, right? And it's just like they run the whole thing. And then my realization is just like, from solitary confinement to the prison to where I was at, I'm like, that's exactly how our societies ran. It's built on class, education, divide and conquer, division. It's just a bigger prison. It's operated the same way. And based on economic status, talent, job, trade, and then there's way more of us, and then the leaders of the world, but we still don't do anything.
Right.
Everyone in that prison can just like walk out at the same time, but they won't. Why is that? Because they have everyone against each other.
Right. It's built on disunity.
Just like this world.
That's the thing that prevents progress, isn't it?
Absolutely. And this is a fact. Like, that was a realization in prison. I'm like, this is the same system as the real world.
Yeah. And like, my impression of prison, like, was there bad things that happened? There's fights, there's gangs, but there's also probably camaraderie and brotherhood, I'm guessing, or no?
Absolutely. So for me, with what I know now, the scariest thing about prison is how smart people are, who are dangerous. I've met the smartest people I've ever met in my life in there. People with photographic memory, all that, who can read books as fast as they can flip the pages. And as a game, I would sit there and just like be in disbelief, grabbing a Bible or whatever, just like flipping to a page, like, okay, and they'd read it to me verbatim.
From memory.
Yeah. Any book.
Crazy.
And like, but the most dangerous people. So I'm like, wow, I just really hope I never run into this person, because it's
when you say dangerous,
because they can do whatever they want. Like, someone with a mind like that, you can get dual doctorates at the same time. You can do whatever. Like, I go in there and the guy knew my whole information by heart already. Like, that's a really scary thing.
Yeah. All right.
Said where I lived, everything, daughter's name, everything, and just everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of your daughter, so now you're separated from your family as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that inform your relationship with your daughter?
It strengthened it, surprisingly.
And how's that?
Well, from her testimony now, with her, for me, I was all coming from ego of what I thought and was brought up that a dad was supposed to look like.
Yeah.
But from what I know now, we fail to have faith in the human experience of, things happen for a reason. And there is, based on perception, there's always something unfortunate, there's something fortunate that can happen. So from her testimony to me, she enjoyed going there. She's like, how many kids get to say they've got to go to a prison? She's like, I've got to go experience that. She said, I got to experience you putting your life first and not making me the front of your life. And she's like, so you led by example that I shouldn't put anybody in front of my life. And she said, you did a good example by letting me know that I came into your world and not the other way around. And she's like, I was just the observer and you were a great guide. And that's where I got that from.
That's beautiful.
My daughter's graduated. She's got college, her degree, works for a huge corporate company and is independent, never been in any trouble or anything. And of course, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Like that lets me off the hook, right? But you never know. I used to say to myself, how am I going to forgive myself? Like my little girl visiting me in prison. And when I finally talked to her about it, she's like, me and my friends like laugh about that. I have one friend whose dad went in. She's like, we got the ultimate experience. Like we have something no one else has. Like, and you do too. And now she's obviously an adult. So she really broke it down to me of only the benefits from it. And she's like, I've seen how much you've grown too. And she's like, that's something amazing that I'll probably never get to experience.
Right. I mean, that's a source of inspiration for her. Yeah. Okay, so you get out of prison. Do you remember walking out?
Yeah.
What was that?
I just was in fear. I was just in fear that if I was really going to get out or not.
Oh, what do you mean?
Because I've seen people get rebooked.
Oh.
From like, you're about to get out and then another charge comes up on the computer and then they're right back in jail.
Oof. Okay.
And that's like, when I was in the van, it just felt surreal. Same thing, like driving on the road. It's just like freedom really is a privilege and not a right. We have the illusion of freedom, but really we're guarded by something.
Yeah. So, not skating for a year and a half or however long it was.
17 months.
17 months. Do you remember when you stepped foot back on a skateboard?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, let me tell you what I was doing, and ended up going to fire camp, which is the hardest. Respect to all the firefighters. We were, cutting line, hot shotters. Hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. Camps were amazing. Camps, like, we were on the grade. We went on campaigns. But in my mind, I did a ton of reading in jail. That's all I did was put myself through my own school based on what I wanted to learn in there. Got so many books. I had stacks of books. And what I think is really important is even when I couldn't skate, I would skate through meditation. I would skate in my mind because I was reading a book talking about the first person who ran over, under 5 minutes or in a mile or something.
Right.
And they imagined it over and over. First, they didn't even train. And so that's what I do with skateboarding. When I can't skate, I skate in my mind. And that's what I did every night when I was in jail. So I'd go to my favorite park or wherever, and I do lines and stuff. And you think that sounds silly, but it's really hard to skate in your mind.
Yeah.
I'd be getting like throwing my board, getting frustrated at tricks in my mind. Like,
That's so funny.
not being able to land tricks, and I'm like, this is in my mind, just landing.
I have a lot of skating dreams. I don't know if you do, Chris. Can you relate to that? I mean,
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I've seriously had to go back to spots in my mind, which is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is so funny. But what was it like for you stepping on a skateboard after not having ollied for like a year and a half?
Oh, it was fine because I got ahead of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't only in the mind. I was doing timed hikes every day in full boots and fire uniform. I was stretching every day.
Gosh, so physically you're fit.
Yeah, and we had like pack hikes every Friday with like 80-pound backpacks, hiking miles up with banjos on and deployment shelters, gloves, a tool, a hat. Like, I was working out, so I was like,
okay, so you're
crazy,
fit.
yeah.
You're fit and you're skating in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing lines and you're not landing some tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was it like standing up?
I went to the Ocean Beach Park, and one of my friends like wanted to meet up with me the first day there, and he immediately challenged me to a game of skate. And then he lost, and he was just like, man, I can't even get you. Like, when I'm like, oh, you thought I wasn't, no, you were gonna want to meet up and meet me here, because that's what we do. We play skate, all the time. And I had to get him real quick, and he was tripping. Like, how?
Do you remember what was going on in the skate world while you were in prison? Like, because the word was, okay, Brandon's in jail now.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in touch with your skateboard community at this point?
Yeah. Like Dan and Prews from Skate Mafia, and then not really much else. Just people who wrote to me and stuff, or who I called, were really close to me. But you really, see who your friends are when
I'm sure.
You're locked up.
Yeah.
Not many people put money on my books or sent letters or anything, so that was good. That needed to happen. So
fair enough.
That made me kind of, I'm type of person like who used to not think like that, would just be open. And another thing, took friendship for granted, but friendship takes effort, and there's boundaries and there is obligations to be my friend.
Fair. Yeah.
So, and I've earned that. So it's just, that's how I roll now.
Gotcha.
And I don't open up or hang out with just anyone now.
Yeah. But when you've got out, you're skating again, and then you started partying again, didn't you? Like you were still sort of back into that lifestyle, were you not?
Yeah, I was like I was on probation, and they had this ankle bracelet on me, and I was had that for 4 months, and I was just like really kind of like annoyed. And then they put me in jail back for 5 days I won like I forgot, it was like gold wheels, and it was like a toy gold gun. They came into my house because the cops would come search my house every like 2 weeks. They found this, and they're like, oh, this is a violation. You can't have any paraphernalia. And they locked me up for 5 days for that. And I'm like,
oh, no way.
I'm like, I'm doing everything right. And I'm like, this is bullshit, man. And I'm like, so when I finally got off the bracelet, I was like, I started seeing if I do some control drinking. It didn't work. Eventually, my cousin ended up overdosing off fentanyl, and then after that,
tell me about your cousin, because he was an important figure in your life.
Yeah, he was like a basketball star and really likable dude, and just like he was kind of like a cockroach.
What do you mean?
It's just nothing can get him down. Nothing. No matter what happened in life, stuff just ended up working out.
Some people it appears as they got everything figured out.
He was the type, kind of like, let's say if I didn't have a shoe sponsor right now and struggling to get a deal with this company, it just happened for him. And then he wouldn't have to do any work for it.
Right.
Stuff would just like happen to him. Like, oh yeah, I met this guy and he just gave me this apartment for a year. He's a property manager, but yeah, you know, like, he's like, good luck, I guess. And I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's just like everything happened for like not to him, for him. So when I heard he you know, he was like, he liked to do cocaine, and he was hanging around with some people who had some fentanyl and did some that was cocaine, and they panicked and left him, and he died.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, that's devastating. It happens. I don't know how many patients I've had who died in that same scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's somebody who seems invincible to you. He's got the world figured out, dies. Mm-hmm. And how did that impact you?
It's just a lot of people are reaching out to me and asking me what happened and commenting on it, and it's the same story. You know, he died from fentanyl overdose.
Yeah.
You know, Will died from overdose. And then it hit me one night. You know, I was doing, you know, a little drinking with some wine, and, you know, like, kind of about to go out and party and stuff, and it just hit me in the mirror. I was just like, wow, if I even go out like this, like by accident or anything, like that's all I'll be remembered for. Nothing I did in this life is going to matter, because that is going to be the end of my story. And
that'll be the defining moment.
Yeah.
That'll be what defined Brandon.
Yes, exactly.
He died of an overdose.
Exactly.
He was a drug addict.
Yeah. And I'm not. And
right.
I'm better than that. So I was like, I'm not going out like that, and this is not what I'll be remembered for. I'll be remembered for great things and making a difference. And that was it right there. This day.
Yeah. Today.
October 17th, 2017.
That was the day.
Yep.
And now you're here.
On this day.
On the same day. That is not planned either. It just worked out that way, huh?
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But that's how we're living.
That's right. But having said that, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm done. There's another thing to actually stop using.
Yes.
What was that journey like?
I had a little withdrawal.
Okay.
And for like 4 days, and I knew that was coming because I was drinking a lot. Went through that, and then it was actually dealing with life on life's terms, and got, you know, started going to some AA meetings. And what really was hard for me is because I drank and partied for so many years, it became a part of my identity, and it started to make me realize that most of the friends I was hanging around with, I was just always drinking with.
Yeah.
And that's what our relationship was. So I just started loving a lot of people from far because I've changed.
And I expect that was, I would think, one of the most difficult parts of stopping using is having to sever some of those relationships. Yeah.
My best friend, though, Alex, like, he eventually stopped drinking too. And I was able to help him. And what really trips me out is, like, moving forward, just, I'm not going to jump too far ahead, but yeah, it was part of my identity. So a lot of the people I skated with and just hung out with, I just had to separate myself for a long time before I had the power and the tools to be able to be around certain environments that I can stick to who I want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think in some respects you were lucky because you had, or actually I shouldn't assume, you must have also had some people in your life that didn't use that now that could be your people, because some people don't have that, and it's like, if I stop associating with this group, I'll have nobody. What was your experience like?
Shows. and books and
shows and books.
I remember like I wanted to go out and just feel connection. I'd just be like watching a movies, and I was just wanted to do other things. I would watch I was watching that show Billions and stuff because I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make money. Like money is a sense of freedom. So I was just like watching Billions, and I remember watching the clock like it's 12 o'clock. People are still out, and be like waiting till it's 2 o'clock. I'll be like, okay, yeah, bars are closed. Great. I remember like having that feeling of like subconsciously knowing the bars were still open and that you could still buy alcohol.
And there was a sense of relief when the bars closed.
Yeah.
Because now there was no access.
There was something that was like energy that was pulling me, like, of knowing that, which is kind of crazy, right?
It is and it isn't, because people always describe like if it's there, if it's in the house, or if they have access to their drug of choice, there's always going to be a draw. And it's when they sever all of those, all the access to their drug of choice sometimes, where they can sort of feel that freedom. But with alcohol, it's so hard because it's everywhere. It's difficult to. So for you, it was like, okay, 2 a.m., bars are closed, no more access. And now that draw is diminished. Yeah. So, and then did you end up going through a program, or what was your path to sobriety like?
My path to sobriety was abstinence.
Yeah.
And then I would go to meetings, and I eventually got a sponsor. And me getting a sponsor helped me to realize, that's the first time that I realized that I never addressed my traumas. So going through, the steps and stuff, I was able to, the 4-step, like taking my inventory and resentment inventory and working through those, that's how I got through my trauma.
Got you. So you did the 12-step program, like an AA program. And finally, now you're dealing with your trauma. Yeah.
And I wasn't sold on it until I got to my inventory step. I was kind of doing it to get people at the time, someone I was seeing, to shut up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe in, like, getting a sponsor or being with a stranger I didn't even know, telling my innermost, but it, like, clicked. I was like, oh, it hit me like a brick wall.
Got it. So, yeah, and the path is different for different people, but for you, it was 12-step, it was AA, and now you're starting to address some of the underlying causes of your alcohol use. What was driving, which was your trauma, it sounds like. Okay, and for you, the only path was abstinence, it sounds like. So have you been sober since?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And okay, so, but you didn't just leave it at, like, I'm going to AA groups. You ended up choosing this as one aspect of your career, right? Because now you're CEO of a treatment program.
Yeah, it's Westside Recovery.
Yeah. How did that come about?
Well, because I came to the realization of, not just the realization of what it's about, just life in general, is like of service. It's not about what I can get or anything. It's what I got to give. And that's what helped me with skateboarding too, is just like, skateboarding has given so much to me and everything. And I was so like we're talking about, and I still kind of am like that, because some stuff is just deserved after work. Okay. But no, I'm just like with skateboarding, it's like, I've gotten so much out of skateboarding. Now what could I give back to skateboarding? Right. And with the journey that I've been through, and it took so long, and it was so hard for me to figure out what was going on with my traumas, how it reflected to alcohol and drugs, and all the trouble I went through and all the pain I put myself through, although priceless, how could I help somebody else? And I'm like, all right, well, let's go big. Let's open a treatment center. Yeah. And have a skateboarding program attached to it.
That's amazing. And how long has it been since you've had the program?
This month, 3 years.
3 years? Wow. And how can people access your program?
They can access my program by going to Westside Recovery SD, like San Diego, .com, and there's a number on there you can call.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or you can just hit me up on Instagram if you're struggling, which is bturner, BTURNER_. And a lot of people hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah, you probably don't remember, but the first time we connected was you liked one of my posts on Instagram. It was me in my scrubs and my lab coat doing a heel flip on my indoor mini. And I was like, dude, Brandon Turner just liked my post. And then I hit you up and we kind of went back and forth a little bit on Messenger. But it really was like through Chris that we connected. But that was...
I remember seeing that and I was just like, man, that's so cool. That's what it's about. Like, that just like breaks down so many walls of... Because there's, you know what? There's a lot of good therapists and there's a lot of good doctors out there. But what I realized, it took so much more... And I've had a lot of good mentors and people in my life, but it takes so much more. It took so much more for me to get broken through to, because there had to be some relatability. And that's what's so cool with you being a doctor and a skateboarder, like someone like you, before just you having a skateboard breaks down so many walls so I can hear you.
And something people don't often appreciate about skateboarding is I think the influence of skateboarding goes far beyond just skateboarders and skateboard culture. I do a lot of work with youth and adolescents, and a kid may not skate, but they walk into my office and they see the art or they see a skateboard on the wall and immediately like, whoa, you skate? And immediately I have credibility with them. And they open up, and it's not because they skate, but there's something about skateboarding that they just find appealing, and it's just so different. So I think skateboarders have a lot of influence within the skateboarding community, but I think that influence extends far beyond the skateboarding community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what I'm so stoked about with my friendship with Chris here and you now, because you guys have, this influence within skateboard culture, but beyond as well. And I think that can be harnessed and utilized to bring about awareness when it comes to mental health and addiction and just positive life choices. What does the future hold for you now?
I'm going to continue to break down more walls with people, places, and things, and on my skateboard. Yeah. And new relationships like with yourself to help build something new in this world and a community of connection, love, abundance, and success, and all of the dreams and light that everybody has to offer. Yeah. That before didn't have a voice to. Yeah. Yeah. I want to continue to reach out to skateboarders and all people of all arts and walks of life, for just to connect and exchange, experience, strength, and hope. Yeah, beautifully said. It has been such a pleasure getting to know you this past few days, past year I would say, but also specifically past few days. Such an inspiration. Not a lot of people would be able to take all the devastating things that happened to you and bring about positivity and have this drive to use your negative experiences to benefit the world. Thank you so much. Right. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your team and all your hospitality. Yeah, man. I love Canada.